Dong-su is worried because there is too much at stake, but Suho is already ready for the fight as if he had been waiting for it. When Dong-su sees Suho coming toward him, he tells Suho to be careful, but Suho doesn't care. Dong-su takes a stand and tries to attack Suho, but Suho hits him back, and his punch is so strong that Dong-su falls unconscious. Su-young waits, but nothing happens. So she thinks it's safe to assume that Dong-su isn't going to wake up soon, and Suho's smile tells her everything she needs to know. His energy is what makes him unique and makes him feel dangerous. Suho shakes her out of her thoughts by telling her that he won the battle. This makes her look at him differently. Suho then tells her that he doesn't mind if she fights him again. Then she tells him that a beginner like him shouldn't fight with her yet. Su-young thinks Suho needs to learn a lesson, so she agrees to the fight, but warns him again that she won't be easy on him, and him that she won't be easy on him. Suho keeps pushing her and makes her an offer. If he beats her, she won't disqualify Dong-su. But Suho really wants this to happen. He needs a big fight to satisfy his need to fight. She starts to attack Suho to beat him, but it seems like his defense can't be broken. She then tries everything, from hitting him to pleading with him, but nothing works. She then tells him that if Suho beats her, she will grant him one more wish. Suho finally manages to hit her with a small attack, but Suho comes back at her right away and breaks through her shield. Suho sees that she is stronger than he thought. Then he rushes at her, planning to end this fight with one final blow. But before he could do that, she stopped him and gave up. This surprises Suho because they were fighting hard and she was giving him a hard time. But Su-young took the loss anyway, saying that the arena is too small for her to fully use all of her powers. So she's just giving up. Suho doesn't agree with this choice, but he respects it when she asks him what he wants her to do for him. Then Suho asks her something. If you ask if there are other strong female fighters like her on Earth, you'll soon hear that there aren't that many. Suho didn't want to know anything else. Now, he wants her to do what he wants, which is to have children with him. Su-young is shocked right away because this is not what she was expecting. Suho tells her again what he wants. He wants her to get close to him so she can give birth to his children. Su-young gets angry right away and she slaps Suha so hard that Dong-su wakes up from his sleep. Su-young leaves in anger after she slaps Suho. Dong-su wakes up and figures out what happened to him at the same time. He feels terrible about losing the battle, especially since he paid to get in. When he sees Suho smiling, he feels happy. Suho's claim that he is now out of the race makes him even more angry, but Suho calms him down and tells him that he hasn't been disqualified. Who doesn't believe this is happening? So we asked him what happened. Suho told us how he stopped his disqualification dunks. When we asked why he got slapped, he refused to answer. So he just tells him that he doesn't need to know. This makes Dong-su even more confused, and he thinks that Suho gave him that slap just for him. And this makes Dong-su respect Suho because he saved him. Dong-su's eyes fill with tears of happiness, and he decides to follow Suho from now on. He starts calling him Big Brother. Park Suho hears an announcement that tells him to get to the supervisory officer as soon as possible about something important. Suho doesn't know what's going on, but he still goes into the office to meet the supervisor. Before they talked, Suho's supervisor told her that everything they say will be recorded, but she doesn't care. The supervisor then praises Suho because he's never seen a candidate be able to beat a B-ranked awakener before, and he's surprised by his ability. The supervisor then asks him if he's an irregular. Sudo is confused because this is the second time someone has called him irregular, but he doesn't know what this means. The boss knows that he is confused and doesn't know much, so he decides to teach him what he needs to know. He then starts to talk about the portal and how it connects the Earth to 3 other planets: Aruka, Dungeon, Mador, and Aruka, Dungeon. First is Aruka, which is where elves and dwarves live. Aragon Earth and Aruka have a good relationship, and they help each other and trade with each other. Earthlings who went to Aruka and came back learned how to make magic and artifacts and taught others how to do the same. The second planet is called Dungeon. It is home to both Mammons and martial artists, who are always fighting over who is in charge. It's clear that martial artists are friends, while Mammon has turned into an enemy and a major threat to the world. The last one is Midor, a planet where warlike orcs and many other dangerous monsters rule. They are worse because every time a Midor portal opens, things get worse. People who went to another planet to learn skills and then came back to this one are called irregulars. Suho thinks this information is hard to understand, and he also says that the planet he came from wasn't one of these 3. This makes the supervisor think it's very unlikely that Suho is from a dungeon, because he wouldn't be this strong if that were true. In order to find out more, when Suho's boss asked him where he had come from, Suho said he had already told the bold doctor everything. But in simple terms, he lived with wolves for thousands of years. This shocks the supervisor, and Su asks him if he's done because he wants to go back to the competition. The supervisor tells him he can leave now, and Suho does. But the supervisor can't stop thinking about him because he has a mysterious strength. Now, Sergeant Kim Sang-shik walks into the room to meet the supervisor. The supervisor doesn't waste any time asking Sang-shik to become supervisor number 15. Sang-shik then tells her that Su-young is the 15th supervisor and that he knows that because Su-young ran away, he will have to take her place. He also wants Park Suho to be carefully looked at because he is a very important applicant. On the other hand, everyone hears an announcement that it's time for the test, so they all change their clothes. When Suho and the others get there, they find out that their supervisor has been changed, which makes Dong-su very happy. Kim Sang-shik introduces himself as their boss and starts to talk about important things. He tells them that the minimum requirements for today's test are 9 seconds for 100 meters and 1 hour for the tetra. Pentathlon. Some applicants are worried about it because their strength isn't physical speed and endurance. The test starts and many people fail because they don't have good physical skills. When it's Suho's turn, he wishes him luck before taking his own test. In 8 seconds, he runs the 100-meter dash and moves on to the next round. Now it's Suho's turn, and he says, "Shake, get ready to see something crazy." He gets in position to run, and in less than a second, he clears the level for everyone, including the applicants and the supervisor. Most importantly, the media is so shocked by this that they call the head supervisor right away to tell him what's going on. He sent him a video of it as well. When the head supervisor asks what's going on at the media station, he finds out that they aren't having much fun with it. He sends Suho's videos right away to Bureau Officer Miso. When Miso sees the videos, she is shocked because she doesn't understand how a freak could do this. She orders all the media to leave the arena right away, but it's too late. This news spreads all over the internet, and then she tells everyone to take down and stop writing about Suho. As Suho and Dong-su walk out, everyone rushes to take pictures of Suho. It's big news that an F ranker broke the records in the very first test. At the same time, the bureau that is waking up is worried about him. But they also know that South Korea might have an advantage over other countries if Suho is really from a fourth planet. Just like that, the bureau starts planning dirty politics to use Suho for their own benefit. When Suho and the dogs walked into the cafeteria, the students stopped talking and making noise as soon as they saw him. Everyone's eyes were on him, and it was clear that he was the topic of conversation. Suho had been in the news a lot lately because his fame and success were getting around the world. As soon as they walked into the changing room, they heard an eerie silence. The room was empty, so it was clear that everyone but the dogs had failed the test. The dogs were scared because it would be hard for only 2 people to pass the next test. But Suho, who was calm and sure of himself, tried to calm the dogs' fears by showing them that he believed in them and that they could get through the challenge together. Dong-su tried to tell Suho that he was worried by telling him that the dungeons were dangerous and that they should be careful. Even though Dong-su had his doubts, he knew he had to trust Suho. Suho turned to Dong-su and asked what he had been doing on his phone before. Dong-su told Suho that he had been watching and sharing videos on YouTube. But Suho had never heard of it and couldn't believe that something like that existed. Dong-su couldn't believe that Suho didn't know about YouTube. He was surprised that his older brother had never heard of the platform. So he offered to show Suho what YouTube is and how it works. He pulled up some videos for him to watch and continued to explain to Suho what views and subscribers are and how they are used to measure how popular a video is. As they scrolled through the videos on YouTube, Suho saw one with over 1 million views. He was amazed and asked Dong-su what kind of video it was. Dong-su told him it was a mukbang video, which is he told Suho that these kinds of videos are becoming very popular right now. Suho was interested in the idea and said he would like to try it. Dong-su saw that Suho had potential and told him he would help him get in a mukbang video. Suho thanked him, and Dong-su couldn't help but think that Suho had everything it takes to be a YouTube star with his tall, handsome looks and charming personality. Then Suho asks Dong-su if he wants to join his clan. At first, Dong-su is hesitant because he knows how hard it is to start a new clan. But when he remembers his past failures, he accepts Suho's offer with tears of happiness running down his face. He tells Suho that a clan is made up of at least 3 people. All of a sudden, a monk walks in and greets them. The monk introduces himself and then says that he works for Team 15. All of a sudden, an announcement comes over the loudspeakers telling all of the applicants to put on their battle suits within 30 minutes for a surprise test. The idea of a surprise test makes dogs feel nervous and uneasy. The supervisor tells them that the dungeon they will be going into is a level 1 dungeon with 250 doors, and that it is currently under the protection of the Phoenix Guild. Suho doesn't understand the idea of guilds protecting dungeons. But Dong-su explains that when many dungeons started to appear, the South Korean government decided to hire guilds to protect them. This makes sense to Su, and he gets excited to buy the land. The supervisor then says that the dungeon is not that dangerous and won't have much energy. After the briefing, Dong-su feels demotivated because he doesn't have the search skills, but Suho says that he does. This makes dogs who believe more that Suho is someone special. Dogs then ask the monk if he has any awakened skills. The monk starts to think about this question, and we see a flashback of him sitting inside a building and hitting a bell with a stick to make a loud noise. The monsters nearby hear this sound and start running toward the building. His brother comes to warn him in a desperate way about the danger. The monsters suddenly rushed into the building and attacked his brother right in front of him. This sad memory seems to have had a big effect on the museum because Suho and the dogs are now silent. They see the fear on Mutant's face and wonder what could have caused it. The supervisor ends the presentation and tells them to start the mission, hoping that everyone will pass. As the group gets ready to go into the dungeon, Team 15, which is Su's host team, only has 3 members, which worries Dong-su. Suho notices this and asks him why he is always so scared. Suho then asks the supervisor if they can use their own weapons. The supervisor tells him that they can. The group of 15 then goes through the portal, and Suho is the most excited. As they explore the dungeon, Dong-su is amazed by Suho's confidence. He had never seen anyone so fearless and unfazed by the dangers that lay ahead. Dogs then tell Suho to set up a perimeter, but as soon as he says it out loud, he realizes he made a mistake because his voice attracts the attention of monsters nearby. Suddenly, a beast lunges at them. Suho steps forward with fierce determination and easily crushes the creature. Dogs hides his mistake and acts as if it was on purpose that he attracted the monster. They keep walking, and as they do, the monk steps on a hidden trigger, setting off a trap. Arrows fly toward them, but the monk moves quickly, stands in front of his teammates, and pulls out his staff. Then there's a flashback where Myung-jin talks about how sad it was when he tried to protect his brother from monsters in the past. He feels very bad that he couldn't protect his brother. When they go back into the dungeon, Munich finds the trap and saves them. But as they run away, Dong-su sets off another trap, and they all fall down a hole. They are in the hole and can hear the monsters around them. The dog is worried about the situation they got themselves into. The monk apologizes and tells Dong-su that his skill is actually a taunt that affects a large area. This surprises Dong-su. While the group was stuck in the hole, Suho took a moment to assess the situation. He thinks quickly and jumps out of the trap, which amazes both the monk and Dong-su. Suho then asks the monk to join his clan with confidence, showing that he trusts him. All of a sudden, a group of monsters showed up and got ready to attack. Suho doesn't think twice before getting ready to fight them off. The monk is having a hard time getting out of the trap, but with hard work, he finally gets out of the trap. He then quickly helps Dong-su get out as well, and the two of them stand back to back, ready to fight. What they see surprises them. Suho used his skill and strength to easily wipe out a whole army of monsters. Suho then tells them to follow him and finish off the monsters that have already been knocked down. The group moves as one, and Suho keeps killing them with his skills and strength. All of a sudden, a monster comes up behind him and tries to attack. But Suho sees the attack coming and easily avoids it. He then turns around and quickly kills the monster. When they heard that a team had already come back from the dungeon, the people in charge couldn't believe it. They couldn't figure out how anyone could clear a dungeon in such a short amount of time, especially since it usually takes 5 hours. They were amazed when they found out that Team 15 led by Suho had done it. The control team called the supervisor right away to confirm the information, and to their surprise, the supervisor confirmed that Team 5 had indeed finished the task without getting hurt. The supervisor also said that Suho had broken all the records and done better than everyone expected. Dong-su decides to start a vlog channel called Suho Clan Vlog because of how well their last dungeon mission went. He thinks it would be a great way to share their adventures with the world and become a YouTube star to get the channel started. He makes a video tour of Junho's brother's house. To make the video longer than the time Suho's brother gets home, he shoots Granny and the monk, and the group is very happy to see him as they head to the dungeon to sue his brother's truck. Because Junho is a curious person, he sees a drone with an autopilot flying nearby. He can't help but wonder if he could destroy it with his skill. Dong-soo, who is also in the truck, is thinking and decides to show Suho his awakened ability, which is video memory. He tells Suho that he wants to record their first adventure quest and put it on YouTube to show their journey. When they get there, they go into the dungeon and find out it's a bat as they look around. Dong-soo turns to Suho and asks if he has any long-range skills that could help them in this situation. Suho, on the other hand, says that he doesn't have any of these skills. The monk Myung-jin then steps in and tells them he will take care of it. He starts to ring his bell, and as the sound gets closer, all the bats get upset and start to fly towards them. As the bats get closer, Munition uses his ability, Fire Wheel, to set them all on fire. The boss of the dungeon, a giant bat, then tries to attack Museum, but Pseudo steps in and slashes it with his sword, killing it. The Suho Guild has now finished their first quest. Dong-soo keeps his promise and puts the video on YouTube, where it quickly goes viral. The group in charge of keeping an eye on the dungeon finds out about it and gets worried. The director of the bureau, upon seeing a video of a Russian fighter calling out S-Hunter Okita hero, decides to confront Suho personally for something important the next day. Myung-jin doesn't show up for work, and Junho reveals that he has gone to live with his surviving family members in Seoul. Dong-soo and Suho then suggest to Suho that they take a day break due to the lack of members, and the fact that they have recently made a lot of money. Suho agrees, and at the same time, he uses his power to figure out what Dong-soo and Suho can do. He doesn't notice anything special about their abilities, though, until he checks out Dog, because abilities. When he sees Dogbeat use unique abilities, he becomes interested in learning more about them. He wonders if dogs can awaken like humans or not. Suho then turns to Junho and asks him about the problem he's having with his old truck, which is causing him stress. Junho tells Suho what's going on and how it's affecting his daily life. Suho then offers to buy Junho a new truck. Junho is thrilled and grateful for the offer. Junho also takes his dog bike with him because he has something special planned for it. When they go to the dealership to buy a new truck, the salesman shows them a model called the Condemned Junho. They are immediately drawn to it because it is a special truck made just for mercenaries like them. The salesman explains the different features of the truck and how it is made to handle the demands of their line of work. After hearing what the salesman had to say, Suho turned to Junho and asked if he wanted the Condemned Rigo. Junho said yes right away, so Suho decided to buy it right then. Jinil is very happy after driving the truck, which he bought with cash, and Suho likes how comfortable it is. But then Suho drops a bombshell and says that they can wake up today. This shocked John, who felt like he was in danger. When they got to the location, they could smell the goblin's beaks, and the goblin's behavior changed into that of a fierce animal. Suho gets out of the car and tells Junho to wait while he gets ready for the next battle. Suho and the rest of the Suho Guild are still making a name for themselves in the dungeon exploring community. Their YouTube videos are getting more and more views. Some people who watch the videos start to worry about how popular Suho is getting and how that could hurt their own interests. One person asks how many guilds they are funding an area for, and another suggests that they give assistant manager Troy the job of dealing with Suho because he is strong and has already destroyed a whole group. They plan how to stop the Suho guilds from getting more popular and how to protect their own interests at the same time. In the late evening, as it rains outside, we see Granny Soccer coming back from the market. People from the bureau get out of a car and check that she is who she says she is. They demand to meet Park Suho and ask her questions about him and where he is. Granny was shocked and worried by the unexpected visit. On the other hand, Junho and Baegun are waiting in the car for Suho to come back. As they wait, a monster attacks out of the blue, which surprises Junho and throws him for a loop. Suho comes back to the scene of the crime and tells Junho to get out of the car. He then gives Junho a knife and tells him that this is his chance to wake up. Junho is filled with fear and doubt, and he doesn't know if he can do the task at hand. But Suho sees hesitation in Junho's eyes and decides to take matters into his own hands. He tells Baekgun to bite the monster, but the monster catches Guan-su and tells Gu that he must kill the monster or die. Junho is crying, and tears are running down his face. but Suho says again and again that this is the only way to save Big Goo. Junho takes the knife and stabs the monster, which is very hard for him to do. Suho doesn't seem happy with just one strike though, and tells him to do it again. Junho agrees, but as soon as he sees the blood on his hands, he is filled with sadness and regret. Suho then tells him to take the knife, follow him, and keep killing any monsters he sees. Gentle is overwhelmed by what just happened and is having trouble processing it. As he does what he's told, guilt and sadness weigh heavily on him. He's not sure if he can handle this new responsibility, and as Junho watches Suho walk away, memories from his past flood over him. He remembers when Suho didn't help him when he was being picked on. This makes Junho feel very angry and betrayed, so he finishes his awakening and attacks a monster. He goes on a rampage and repeatedly stabs the monster while giving it a sinister look. Suho praises his newfound stability and asks him to come to the top so they can clean up the remaining monsters. Junho seems like a totally different person now, as he has developed a taste for blood and violence. When Suho and Junho get to the mercenary registration office, the receptionist is shocked to see John's bloody body. Suho tells her that Junho just woke up and the receptionist nods, showing that she understands. She then tells them that Joe needs to have his energy measured before they can decide if he can become a mercenary. Junho looks at Suho. Junho looks at Suho, not sure what this means. Suho, who has more experience, tells Junho that he needs a score above 100 to pass the test. He also says that he got a 96 on his last test, but didn't pass. He adds that it's a hard test to pass. They go into the room where they measure, and Junho lays down on the machine. When the measurement is done, the scientist asks Suho if he wanted to take the test too, so he agrees to take the test. As soon as he steps into the machine, he feels something terrible and gets up right away. The researcher is surprised by Suho's increased energy, and Suho asks the researcher who made the machine. The researcher says it was made by a scientist, but Suho is still not sure. Junho passes the test, and as a reward, he gets a smartphone. John Doe is very happy with his new phone, and Suho tells him so. But Suho starts to feel like something is wrong. So he asks Junho if he noticed anything weird while he was in the machine. Junho, who has never felt this way, denies it. So Suho comes to the conclusion that Junho might not care as much as he does. Suho then asks Junho about his power, and Junho says it's decapitation, which means he can cut off the heads of monsters with a single strike. Suho then sees a familiar face in the crowd and calls out to her with the nickname Blondie. She and her co-workers quickly realize that it's none other than the famous Suho Park. Suho apologizes for what happened in the past. But Suolong doesn't care and tell at the same time that Granny Structure and Miso are eating dinner together. Brandy tells Miso that she has great taste in both food and wine. They talk to each other in a friendly way, and Missile asks where Suho is. Suddenly, Suho and Junho walk into the house, and Junho's son runs to give his father a big hug. Miso stands out to Suho, so he asks her who she is. Missile sits down with him and tells him that she is the director of the Awakened Bureau. She wants him to sign a contract, which makes Suho curious. He asks Misho what this contract is about, and Misho tells him that soon a portal like the one Suho used to get back will appear near his coordinates. She says that Suho shouldn't leave Korea because it would be a big loss for the country. This show then tells the story of the world's best awakened Akita hero, who used to be a Korean man named Wong Soo, but turned against his country. Miso is worried that the Bureau doesn't want to take any chances and wants Suho, because they don't want to lose. Keep living in Korea. She tells Suho that the country's plan is to get exclusive access to the fourth planet, which will give them an advantage. Suho agrees to her plan, but he makes some demands of his own, such as getting his guild its own territory. He also wants to know who will represent him in this process. The scene then moves to Soo-young, who is seen working on her skills while thinking about what she did with Suho. She is angry and upset, but the director interrupts her and tells her that she will be sent. Soo-young is angry and upset that she was chosen for this mission, and she asks Miso why she was chosen. Miso says that out of all the Bureau members, Soo-young is the most qualified and best able to do the job. She goes on to say that Soo-young would have to help Suho if the portal opened in a dangerous situation. Soo-young is upset by this news and says she wants to quit the Bureau. During lunch, Junho, a member of Suho's guild, has terrifying nightmares. Dong-soo, another member of the guild, says that they have been promoted and can now raid level 2 dungeons. Genoa says, though, that they shouldn't do that yet, and should instead focus on level 1 dungeons. Genoa's idea is good, says Suho. The group is also happy to see that their guildmate and friend Myeongjin has come back. During the raid, they set out on a mission to raid a dungeon as a group. Suho runs into an old friend, Shik, who he hadn't seen in a long time. Suho is curious about why Shik is alone and not with his own guild. Ischemic, on the other hand, avoids the core. As Bastion and the rest of the Suho guild continue to raid the dungeon, assistant manager Joy is watching them in secret. Ischemic, on the other hand, feels bad about losing key members of his own guild. He blames the hard nature of the job, saying that small guilds like his don't usually last long. As Suho's guild raids the dungeon and kills a lot of monsters, Junho proves to be especially skilled, killing every single one of them. Suho, on the other hand, doesn't do much because he thinks the job is to Shik, who is having trouble. Wonders if Suho would let someone like him, a Myrankor, join their guild. Suho and his guild return to the surface after clearing the dungeon, and Choi, the leader of a top 20 clan in the country, approached them right away. Choi tells them how proud he is of what they have done and gives them a free ticket to a level 2 dungeon that is worth a lot of money. Dong-soo is shocked by this kind offer, but Junho worries that they aren't ready for a dungeon with such a high level. But Choi tells them that he has already made all the plans and strategies they need to be successful. Suho then tells his team to keep practicing and doing level 1 dungeons while he goes on a level 2 dungeon with the Choi's clan. On the way to the dungeon, Choi says that he would be open to giving the same chance to the Suho clan in the future. When they finally get to the level 2 dungeon, they're ready to take on the challenge. They hand Suho a kit with all the tools he needs, and he steps through the portal with a sly smile, as if he has something bad in mind. Just as Suho goes through the portal, Soo-young speeds up on her motorcycle because she is supposed to keep an eye on him. She asks Joy where Suho is, and he tells her that he just went through the portal. Soo-young introduces herself as a member of the Suho clan and immediately follows Suho into the portal. Each, in the meantime, soon makes her way through the portal and has a flashback to when she went to meet Suho, and Janelle told her that he had already left with Pseudo-Sue. She is very angry and upset that she has to do this mission. As she comes out of the hole, her clothes are ripped and torn, so she quickly tells Suho not to turn around and look at her after a short while. Miso had said that she would send someone who could do the job, so Suho asked Soo-young why she was there. Unsure of herself, Lee says that she is the most capable, but their conversation is cut short by a monster that threatens to kill them both. Soon, Lee tells Suho that the monster they are facing is a boss orc, which will be hard to beat. Then, Suho tells her that there are at least 4 boss orcs nearby, which doesn't confuse Sue. Suho tells her that he will take care of all the orcs by himself, so she doesn't have to hunt them as well. After this, Suho doesn't waste any time and starts to attack the orcs, killing them in a brutal way. Choi is sure that Suho won't make it out alive, so he tells someone on the phone to send the money. As Sue takes the blood crystals out of the orcs' bodies, another person soon comes and asks him for help. She says it's strange that the portal hasn't opened yet, even though all the orcs have been killed. She also reveals that the backpack Suho received is filled with nothing but stones. It becomes clear to Soo-him that this is not a level 2 dungeon, but at least the level 4 one and Suho has been tricked. At first, Suho feels angry, but his mood quickly changes as he realizes that Joy actually helped him by lying, and he becomes excited to take down every single one of the creatures. Suddenly, a monster almost kills Soo-them, but Suho saves her just in time. Suho brags about how strong he is, and as he does so, Soo-young sees a large group of orcs coming toward them. Soon, the whole army is coming toward them, which makes Junho even more worried about the situation. Soo-young then notices a huge figure in the middle, which is the orc war chief. Suddenly, orc riders start marching towards them, and Soo-young soon realizes that this is a full war and not just a battle. She is worried about how they will win this battle. But Suho doesn't care because he has a lot of faith in what he can do. He tells Soon again not to get in the way of his prey because he wants to kill each and every one of them himself. Then they both start fighting the orcs, and Sue uses her special power to kill them. Suho's attacks look more powerful because he kills so many orcs in a short amount of time. He beats them all until the war chief orc takes matters into his own hands and attacks Suho. This makes Suho step back, and Soo-young tells him how strong the war chief is. Suho tries to stab the war chief, but it doesn't hurt him. Director Muscle finds out that Suho's smartphone and Soon's smartphone are in different places. This worries her because she thinks it shouldn't be possible since both of them went through the portal. Soon forgot her phone on her bike and Suhu forgot his, so they are stuck in the dungeon with no way to contact the outside world. Then someone tells me that they are not in a level 2 dungeon, but a level 5 one, which surprises her because level 5 dungeons are so dangerous. As Su and Su tried to win the battle against the army of orcs, Suhu grabbed Su and started to run. Su asked him what was going on. Su asked him what was going on, and Suhu suddenly told her that they couldn't win the battle. Now, running is the best thing to do. Suhu and Soon jump off the cliff and a lot of orcs jump with them. But Suhu lives while the orgas don't. They all die right away because of the damage from the fall. As soon Suhu can't believe they survived such a fall. Many orcs won't jump because they don't want to die. Suhu and Su find shelter in a cave, where Su asks what they should do next. Suhu tells her that he needs to kill more orcs to level up, and then he can kill the war chef. Su Young tells him that leveling up one increases his strength a lot, so this could be a bad plan, but Suhu doesn't care and only believes in his abilities. At the same time, word gets around and everyone knows what's going on. The media crowds around the portal and starts to talk about this case. They show that he is arrested for plotting to kill Suhu and breaking mercenaries' morals and ethics. Suhu's guild starts to worry about him too, because he's in a level 5 dungeon at the bureau office and misses. Anxiety goes through the roof because of all the trouble. She talks to the director and the chief about this problem and asks for help for Suhu and Miso. The director tells her that it's hard to help them right now because they're stuck in a level 5 dungeon, but Miso keeps pushing him. He then tells her straight out that saving them both isn't the bureau's top priority right now, because there have been a lot of other things going on that are much more important. Miso then starts to cry and break down because she feels like she is to blame because she was the one who sent soon after Suho the whole time. During all of this, Suhu uses his trick to get an orc's attention so he can attack him from behind and kill him brutally. After killing it, he smiles because he only needs to kill 3 more orcs to reach the next level. The same time, Su also uses her power to help them stay alive in this place. Suhu decides to take the shot and kill it, but soon realizes it's just a trap. Unfortunately, it's too late, as Suhu falls for the trap and the orcs manage to trap him. Suhu feels disgusted that he fell for such a weak trap, and his anger rises very high. All the orcs march towards him to attack, but soon uses her strength to stop them, and finally Suhu kills them all and levels up. Suhu tries to attack the orcs more, but the warchief orc comes up out of nowhere, hits Suhu and sends him far away. He then finds out that he has reached a new level and can now use new skill. He is given the choice of whether or not to use the beast transformation, and Suhu presses yes. At the same time, Granny Structure feeds Beat Gun, and she worries about the Suhu because it's already been 2 days. Suddenly energy generates inside Bakugan, and Suho transforms. Soon struggles to give a fight to orcs, but Suhu completes his transformation by merging with Bagan and is now ready to take down every single one of the orcs. He wastes no time and goes straight to attacking with his fierce and wild body. As people in Seoul watched, he tore them apart. This caused a lot of damage in the outside world. 3 days have passed, and everyone is still waiting for Su Will to come back and tell them what's going on. The bureau chief tries to calm the situation by giving an interview, but everyone is still waiting for something to happen. After Sudo kills them all, his transformation fades away, and Su Young realizes it wasn't a transformation, but rather a fusion. Suhu feels a new energy inside of him, and he tells you to quickly gather up resources so they can get out of here as soon as possible. Su tells him it's all pointless because even after Kai kills Sudu. This is the end. Please leave a comment below if you want us to do the next part. Don't forget to like the story and sign up for more.